And welcome, welcome, welcome. I feel like John Oliver. This is
Yeah.
John Oliver. Welcome to our.
I'm hitting my desk.
Right, got to pound the desk. It is the final Take 5 with Groz with Gas of the year 2025, right?
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
Yes. I hate it that I'm at the age where I got to think about that stuff too. Like, hang
That's
on a
right.
minute. What?
Is that right? Yeah, it is right. And we're ready to see the year off and looking forward to the new year with lots of fun stuff to talk about today. You are resplendent, by the way, in your Rose Bowl getup.
Look at this. You talk about something I never thought I'd own. An Indiana, unless I bought a 68 retro Rose Bowl shirt, which I never did because I was only 8. And I'm like, well,
Right.
A little bit of stolen valor if I go for that. I remember what I remember about that game is I remember, like every kid in America, I thought O.J. Simpson was a cool name, and O.J. was playing for USC that day. And I remember my dad went to my neighbor's house to watch the game, and me and my neighbor's kid were in the room for maybe 10 minutes before we got bored and went outside to play, back when kids used to go outside and play.
Right.
But I remember seeing it and watching it and all the men in the room thinking, well, Indiana's just not going to be able to hang with these guys today, which was true. But anyway, hopefully I'll remember more about this one. Starting with the fact that it's apparently going to be a monsoon all day I've spent like a month telling my brothers, you guys won't believe it. It's sunny. It's 72.
The greatest time to be in LA. It's the best.
The most gorgeous game you'll ever go to. And they're like, how much rain gear are you bringing? So we got that.
That's brutal, man. I hope it doesn't pour on you, but you got to do what you got to do.
Well, the forecast could be for a hurricane, intermittent earthquakes, and snakes in the stadium. And I'd be like, well, we better get there early. But, come on. Let's not screw around and get caught in traffic. Let's go.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
How about your NFL potential number 1 NFC seed, Seattle Seahawks, with another Seahawk win yesterday, an offense that can't get out of its own way for most of the game, and a defense that's look, I think you could start to compare them a little bit to the Legion of Boom, minus the Super Bowl title, I grant you, but this defense, Groz, is so much fun to watch.
They are, although, I think about 2 weeks ago and what the Rams did to them, but that was the outlier. That's not what it's been like all year. I mean, they're just, the guys that Schneider has picked up this year were just uncanny. All of them have been sensational pickups. They're a better pickup than Sam Darnold as a free agent on offense. Better lineman pickup than Lawrence on defense, who just has been a playmaker for this team from day one. Is making a big difference in the locker room with all the other guys too. I mean, they've got such great players. And you're right on the defensive side of things. There's just you can tell that this is their specialty. This is what McDonald does best because they are versatile. They got the exact players in the right places. They doesn't matter they're rookies or 10-year guys. They know exactly what pieces they need to plug in, and they've done it so far. Knock on wood. And yeah, they were tremendous yesterday. And the thing with Sam Darnold, I'm thinking about this, and it's kind of trying to think about the comparison to him because we got to stop thinking about what's going to happen if he throws some interceptions in the next game and how he's going to go to the playoffs. Well, he's going to do it. Guess what? He's going to do it. You're going to have some passes batted down too. Probably going to have some, strange things happen when he cuts right and gets sacked. He makes mistakes. He's a high risk, high reward guy. Now, I'm not saying he's this guy, but it reminds me of a guy named Brett Favre.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward. I mean, what you need to have is a team around him, and you have it. You've got a team around him. And he comes through in the stretch, which reminds me of Roger Staubach a little bit, because he's been, for the most part, really good in the fourth quarter. The last 2 years we're talking about.
Right.
13 wins both seasons, which is, almost unprecedented. Only the top guys ever done it on different teams. But, I think Sam Darnold is what he is. He's a high risk, high reward player. And, as McDonald has said a couple of times, that's what he knows that's what he is. He doesn't want him to not be that guy because he wants him to take those chances because as the results are showing you with 26 wins in 2 years, they're normally working out for you.
The Favre comparison is such a great one, Groz. And I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was trying to think of how to say this to you without sounding like a moron. I'm very worried about can the Hawks keep winning with this style? I'm not sure they can. I mean, eventually it seems like it's going to catch up to you in a playoff game. Set that aside for a minute. What I like about Darnold, and we've talked about this all year, is he makes mistakes and then comes right back out and keeps pitching. And I know the dumb part of that is, well, it's his job. He's got it. But what I mean is, He doesn't look hesitant the next series. He'll stand in the pocket too long again the next series. He'll throw the ball into traffic again the next. He doesn't change who he is. And
Right.
that's the Favre thing. I never thought of that. That's a perfect thing. Like, yeah, just go out and be yourself. And of course, any NFL quarterback's going to make mistakes. I was looking at Hasselbeck's career arc, and in his earlier days, he was prone to try and do a little too much. So I don't know if Darnold's going to outgrow this or not. I don't think he's going to outgrow it this year. And I think you got to take the bad with the good with him. And it's maddening, but I just like his attitude is like, okay, I threw an interception. Yep. I thought, but big deal. I'm going back out. I'm calling the exact same type of plays. I'm executing them the exact same way. I'm not going to be hesitant at all. And I think
he's getting results.
I think. Well, you are getting results. That's the thing. You're nitpicking to say, well, geez, that's why the Hawks are kind of a funny team. They're like, what do you mean you're mad at Darnold? All he does is win for us.
I know, man.
That's all he's done. So.
Well, people just don't. You got to think of the game as the full 60 minutes, which we say all the time, which is crazy. But you're not going to play a perfect 60 minutes ever,
right?
Ever,
right?
I mean, one in a million times you play a great first half and a great second half. There are always some issues that you got to work on in one half, or something you got to overcome in the second half. The way football games are. So, I think that Darnold it's okay because he's successful, Mike. Much more on the positive than on the negative. So, and I by the way, think what is this, his 6th or 7th year now?
Yeah,
he's not going to change.
No, I don't know how much he's going to evolve out of this. You're right. And also, this is his 2nd year now of being at an elite level team-wise. Minnesota was a great team. And so he's in a lot of these games. He's got a confidence factor. Maybe that's part of where the mistakes just, again, at some point, I'm sure any NFL quarterback, it's like any star of any team. The key is not making mistakes. The key is forgetting them the second you make them. And moving on, just having no memory of what just happened so you can move forward.
Do what you do best.
And
keep doing it even if it's not working at the moment.
And the other thing is you haven't heard any, the defense has stood up for him, big time. You haven't heard any friction like, God damn, man, nope. why do we always have to do the heavy lifting over here? Which means it's a good locker room. They talk about what Cooper Kupp has brought to the locker room and other acquisitions, and then winning. That's what brings a good locker room. Is you're winning, everybody's in a pretty damn good mood most of the time.
Right. It was the San Francisco Bears game was just so great last night, and those are both teams going to be in the postseason with chances. But they're teams that don't have any defense going for them right now. Don't have any defense at all going for them right now.
Right.
And that's what the Seahawks do have. I mean, they've got and special teams. We never should forget to mention that. It's been a big factor for them, and they're going to miss, their big return guy this weekend, Saturday. I don't know if it's because it's a Saturday game or not. I don't know if we would have been able to play Sunday either.
Yeah.
But, they're going to be a little bit shorthanded there, but they've been really good at that aspect of the game. So they're good and solid at all aspects of the game, which I think bodes well for them going into this postseason where, I kind of thought, well, we'll wait on that. What did you think basically of what you saw?
With the Hawks yesterday?
Yeah.
Again, I think what we were saying, I think the defense is so good at frustrating the other team. And that's what helps them overcome the turnovers too. They frustrate the hell out of the other team. They suffocate them and they're so aggressive. They're so well coached. Again, I'd rather have this with McDonald as your head coach who came in as this defensive guru that was going to be at the next level. I'd rather have a great defense and an offense that turns it over a little bit than have a great offense and a defense that leaks constantly, like the Bears did last night.
And the Niners.
And the Niners. Think of the Bills-Eagles yesterday. I was played in horrible conditions, but two teams that looked like playoff teams. Their defenses, locked up and whole. That's how you're going to win. I still worry about Darnold because again the next mistake could come at a critical time. But as you said, we worry all we want. It ain't going to change. Hawks defense is
not winning despite him.
That's a guy. I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Not winning despite him. The defense will have to step up, and I suspect they probably will. San Francisco is interesting. I'm glad you brought up Philadelphia because they're the team to beat. Not just because they're defending Super Bowl champs, but you saw them yesterday.
Yeah,
they're veteran. They've been here. Hurts is cool under pressure. Their defense is experienced and good, and they're hitting like unbelievable in that game. And Buffalo is try to test the team as well. It's going to be very difficult for teams to knock out in the AFC, but the defending champs are going to be very tough in this postseason, I think.
And Josh Allen's probably still kicking himself for missing that wide open play on the 2-point conversion. But I also saw Tim Hasselbeck last night was on ESPN and made an interesting argument. He says, look, they said they were going to go for it, and that's what they did, and he should have made the play. That being said, what about Philadelphia's offense made you think going to overtime would be a bad thing? Philadelphia hadn't done a thing in the second half offensively.
Yeah.
If you're the Bills, you might say, look, let's just tie the game and take our chances in overtime. Our defense has been lights out. By the same token, there always is the argument, hey, look, we're at the 2.5-yard line here.
Right.
We can win the game with one successful play and go that way, and it didn't work out. Hey, the other thing about that game that struck me that I wanted to bring up, and I almost hate myself for bringing this up, but we got to. I'll give credit where credit is due. I don't know if you agree. Is it my imagination, or is Tom Brady getting a lot better at analyzing football games?
No, you're right.
I was ready for the last 15 years or so of my life to just hate that guy. Just be the crotchety. I used to be in broadcasting. He doesn't know what he's doing, and instead, all of a sudden, he's like funny. He's demonstrative. Yep. He's personable. I'm like all the things he wasn't. So, credit where credit is due. I thought he was great during that game. Yeah. I agree
1,000%. He really has gotten good, and it's going to be a hell of a weekend.
Yeah, it will be. I was thinking too of other NFL stuff, just the comparison of two guys, and I don't know why Aaron Rodgers is so miserable all the time. Why he portrays himself as this miserable guy, and then I compare it to Phillip Rivers yesterday, who after the Colts game is like, I can't believe he didn't win. He went 0-3. Yeah. I can't believe I got 3 extra chances to play this great game. That's what I was hoping for. And Rodgers, just a curmudgeon with every question that's asked. He just looks like a sourpuss, and he's always pissed off. And he's
great comparison.
He's the least likable. Like great. I mean, he had a stretch. He's not that anymore, but he had a stretch where he was really fun to watch in late games. He was so good. But God, he's not likable on any level.
Well, Rivers was great, and especially, I'm thinking about not the game, the one before that. Was it against the Seahawks? Maybe it was the Seahawks game where he just kind of took over, calling plays at the line of scrimmage, and just was no. It was, you could see he's having fun doing this.
It was an old guy playing backyard football, just like this is what we're going to have to do to win, and he almost did it. He almost did it 3 times.
It was great. He was terrific, and he looked like the same guy that he was, except a little bit heavier.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. I wouldn't want him to come back looking good, like a paunch, man. And I mean, his high school team came up and watched the game. His family's everybody makes fun of him having 10 kids. That used to be how it was done, man. And
right.
I don't know. I saw they had those two, and it wasn't for this purpose. They didn't talk about it this way, but I saw Rodgers kind of being glum, and then they went to a Phillip Rivers story. I'm like, God, there's a guy who's happy where he is in life versus a guy who, I don't know, maybe Rodgers is happy and he just likes this persona, but boy, it's going to be gone soon enough, and I wonder if he's going to look back and go, I wonder why I was that way all the time.
Good point. It reminds me of a thing in it was Ken Burns baseball when they were talking about Ty Cobb at the end of his life.
Yeah.
And, I think the last thing he said is, if I had it all do over again, I would have had more friends.
Yeah.
And, it's just thinking about it that way. I mean, you don't want to leave things that way. Don't leave things looking like you're so negative and down about everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I mean, look at a guy not quite from that era, and he had his own issues with substances, but like a guy like Mickey Mantle, who just always seemed to be happy, always, through playing with pain and injuries and the pressure of New York, and yet as big a star, bigger probably than Ty Cobb, because there was media, covering that. Yeah, it's you don't have to be miserable. You can have fun at this stuff, and it's funny that some guys just don't seem to do it.
Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Seattle is going to handle San Francisco this weekend.
It's funny.
I handle them pretty easily, actually.
Handle them easily would be something. I think it'll be interesting to see how San Francisco fares against that defense. I've seen Seattle as a 1-point favorite, and I've seen San Francisco as a 1-point favorite. I'll go the other way with you. I think Seattle will win, but I think that spread's about right. I think it's a real close 1-score game. Why abandon the Hawks now? Something else about their defense that struck me last night, Groz, they're kind of a throwback. It's so easy to compare them to the Legion of Boom. And the primary difference right now, and maybe this will evolve a little bit, is the defense now. The Legion of Boom was a talkative, in-your-face defense. I remember thinking at the time they were kind of, Gary Payton was this way a little bit too. Seattle's sports heroes, it feels like, have always been more reserved. The Steve Largent types, the Lenny Wilkens types, the Don James types, reserved. Do your stuff on the field and save the talk for later. Gary certainly broke the mold with that. And then the Legion of Boom just reinvented the whole concept of being mouthy and being good and backing it up. These guys kind of go back to the quiet. They don't have a lot of guys that call attention to themselves yet. They're more of a throwback Seattle style team. I always thought it was fun that Seattle really adopted to the Legion of Boom, again, because they were good.
Right.
But they loved calling attention to themselves and backing it up. And this defense is a little different that way. Hey, can I bring up football? Oh, by the way, before we get too far down the road, the Kraken are hot again. I don't know if you've noticed
4 in a row.
Which is a good thing because they're playing like 20 games in the month of January because they're taking February off for the Olympics. So they've got a brutal schedule.
I forgot about that.
This is they've got it's a good time to be getting hot, I guess is what I'd say. And then I want to bring up football math, too, to discuss this with you. I don't know if you noticed this. And this is a game that I had a lot of opinions on, and I'm not going to talk about the gambling side of it because it hurt me deeply. But the North Texas State, San Diego State game, and I was on North Texas State. It was one of the great collapses of all time. That being said, I want to go the other way for a second, Groz. We've talked about this before. I don't understand football coaches and math and the slaves they've become to analytics and all this. Mm-hmm. And here's my point. San Diego State is down by 15 with about 6 minutes to go, and they get the ball, and they drive, and they score. So now they're down 9.
Right.
And all the announcers are like, well, you want to go for 2 now so you'll know what you have to do later. And I'm like, that's reverse. The other way that works, too. You can go for 1 now, and you'll know what you have to do later. If you go for 1 now, you're down by 8, which is 1 score. And you might have a chance to tie the game if you score another touchdown. Instead, they go for 2. They don't get it, but that's what the analytics tell you. Go then so you know exactly what you have to do. They get the ball back with a couple minutes to go. They zoom down the field again and score because North Texas isn't playing defense. They're just keeping it in front of them because they just want to win, and they're up by 9. San Diego State scores on the last play of the game. Now they're down by 3, and they can't tie the game.
They can't. What was the line in the game, by the way?
Well, let's not talk about that. That's a different argument. We don't have enough time on the Puck Worldwide Network to go in how screwed up that game was from a gambling perspective. Because North Texas was a 3-point favorite, was ahead by 22 in the fourth quarter, and scored a touchdown at one point, and still couldn't cover a 3-point spread. But I just don't get coaches. Yeah. My friend Joe Perzicki, who I wrote the book with, Joe used to say one of your big jobs as a coach when you're behind is you've got to give your team hope. And if you go for an extra point when you're down 9, now you're down 8, you can tell the team, all right, 1 score. We're 1 score away. Right. Whereas you go for 2, and granted, if you get it, it's a whole different argument. But if you don't, now you're down 9, and there's 4 minutes to go. You got to get the ball twice.
No, there's no explaining that. I mean, I can't believe they made a decision like that because
and a lot of coaches do now. I don't get it.
The one thing I like that analysts have done, and this is probably more in the NFL than in college football. I'm just guessing about that. I haven't watched enough college to know it for a fact, but the fact that so many teams are going for it on 4th down now, I think it's helped the game. I think it's made the game more interesting. And
I'll agree.
Okay.
And I kind of like that our guy doesn't. I like that Mike Littell's like, nope, we're an old school defensive team. I heard where he said,
play to your strengths.
Yeah, he's going to go back and look because he thinks they go for it more, and he wants to make sure they do. I mean, Detroit takes it to a crazy level, but I agree with you. It makes it a lot more fun as a fan.
Yeah.
I remember at
4 downs
at the start of the college football season, Ohio State played Texas, and like the first 3 series, both teams went for it on 4th down. Texas made 1, missed 1, and Ohio State, I think, missed 1 on 4th down. I remember thinking if our old friend Don James was with us, trying to explain that to him. I mean, Don's only been gone for 12 years. He'd be like, what are they doing? Is the punter injured? What are they, nuts? I like that teams do it now. Boy, particularly with short yardage in the NFL, the offenses are so sophisticated. It seems like the right thing to do.
Yeah, it does. Although the NFL doesn't need much help from us, though.
No, I mean, again,
rolling, man.
Yesterday, incredibly entertaining. Next week, a great game, a division-deciding game on Saturday night, a division-deciding game on Sunday night. I mean, it's almost like these guys know what they're doing.
Almost.
Do you have? I sent it to you. I wanted to get there in time for Hanukkah and Christmas. Do you have your Rob Refsnyder jersey yet? I got you. Is it Rob Refsnyder? Did I pull that name out right? Is that our guy or our new Mariner?
The 49er guy, the guy with the Giants, right, who kills left-handed pitching.
Yeah, we'll see. He was the Red Sox for a while. I want the M's to still do something this year. I saw Divish say that they're highly motivated. Divish wrote a story, said, no, they're highly motivated to still do something. I hope so after losing Polanco, because we talked about it. I don't mind them losing Polanco. I'm not wild about it, but that's okay. Now go do something. Stop with these, okay, we're going to get a bargain guy. Go get a good guy. Go get a guy who really can replace him. And I see where, the Suarez thing, they're saying Divish wrote that the longer he doesn't get a deal, the more likely he'd take a one-year deal up here.
Right. Which you do. I think you do in a heartbeat.
I like Suarez, but boy, he was fading by the end of the year. I just, if they could pull off this Brendan Donovan trade, I really like that. That's a guy who I think can help him, the Cardinals guy, and he's been good for the last few years. Like 26. He's got club control, which gets Jerry excited beyond belief when you've got some club control with the guy. But Refsnyder could be the kind of guy that really becomes a good pickup, but that's not the answer in terms of
World
Series.
I don't think they're trying to sell him that way either. I mean, they're selling him as a great left-handed bat, which is or maybe it's left-handed pitching. Forgive me, which is I mean, they need. I mean, which is an element they need, but not the whole thing like you're talking about. It's funny. I feel like I'm talking your side of it now because I'll bring up the fact that they've got some young guys at those positions. You're thinking about playing some more this year as well. So maybe you don't go big there. Maybe you do get another little piece and you use the money to sign one of your pitchers.
Well, we talked about it last week. I think that you could do that, play these young guys, and again, hope you can capture lightning in a bottle again at the trade deadline. If you can go find, okay, look, this isn't working, so let's go find this year's John Naylor or this year's Gino Suarez,
Josh Naylor,
and get Josh Naylor and get them. But I'd love for them to do one more kind of eye-opening move, and if it's an everyday player, great. If it's a pitcher, you cannot have enough pitching, and you get.
Well, I'm not even signing up one of their own.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think that's all the damage we can do. Groz, I got to ask you. I should have checked with you earlier. Did you get your copy of Royal Society Open Science magazine yet this month?
Damn it, no.
Well, good. It would have ruined our last story if you had perused it as you like to do. From the pages of Royal Society Open Science magazine, female frogs in Europe have developed several ingenious and sneaky tactics to get away from unwanted hordes of horny male frogs attempting to mate with them.
Well, this is going nowhere but up.
Yeah. So it turns out there's more male frogs than female frogs. So the females are put upon by many males at a time during mating season. So the first thing they'll do is they know how to pivot away from the male, which makes them very much like their human counterparts. They're very good at saying, hey, look, a football game, and then they go the other way. Now, the other thing they've learned to do, this is ingenious. This is just evolution, baby. They can imitate the male's calling sound. So a male comes up on a female frog, it's like, hey, baby, let's get going. And they sound like the female can sound like a male frog, and the male frog's like, oh, no, I'm not that kind of frog. And so they're dumb enough to just move on without checking. They're very much like us, But they said the final and most astonishing behavior is something they call tonic immobility, where females extend their arms, extend their legs, and pretend they're dead, and the male frogs fall for it.
Oh, there's so many frogs on the planet with that kind of stuff going on.
You wouldn't think that's happening. They say that the females, like I say, they are not as into mating, and there's way too many males, and they just don't want to get started because then more males come over. Meanwhile, I say the male frogs are not that picky and want to mate with as many females as possible.
Jesus, we are one with the frogs, man. We are frogs.
We've evolved from frogs, Groz. I think that's what we've learned today. Happy New Year, pal. If the Hoosiers win the Rose Bowl, I may need bail money.
Good luck beating Alabama. Hard to believe it. Jesus. Indiana against Alabama in the Rose Bowl.
Let's go Hoosiers.
Oh, Nelly.